If you were to go out and look for an apartment in Rockford, would you be discriminated against? And if so, how? Well, that's the question we set out to find an answer to. We selected 5 different types of people and sent them out into the community to pose as apartment seekers. We took a look at Rockford and randomly selected a few apartments. First, we looked at a housing provider who owns and manages several units in Rockford. The second location was a medium-sized apartment building. Each tester called to make an appointment, went to the walkthrough, and then reported what happened. At our first location, we sent out 2 women with children, and one of the women was Hispanic. What stood out the most to you when you went to visit that property?
He wanted to see a picture of my ID. I didn't have it with me at the moment, but he took a picture of me.
On his telephone?
And he went click. He said that he needed it for his documents later.
So Melanie, did he ask you for identification?
Initially, he didn't introduce himself and he didn't ask my name at all, actually. So not only did he not ask for ID, but he didn't ask my name. I was never questioned at all.
Not only was there an issue with the identification, but the housing provider also used a different tone as well.
And we talked a bit about what my ideal apartment would be. He asked about where I worked, how much I made.
He told me that since there were people living downstairs, he didn't want my kids to be running around, jumping up and down.
Which of these women do you think the landlord really wants to rent to? The next location we looked at was a housing provider who manages a medium-sized apartment building on the north side of town. Felicia, our first apartment seeker, was a single woman who requested to see just one apartment.
It was a pretty good experience, well, I felt. To me, he was very friendly. We saw the one apartment.
So did he mention a second apartment?
He said that there was also another apartment that was for rent. He did mention a guy and his daughter that had already applied and he already did like a background check. He showed me that apartment and kind of like really wanted me to apply for that apartment and get it.
The housing provider offered to bump a pre-approved applicant with a daughter in favor of Felicia, a single person. Now Melanie, at this apartment, you went as a woman with kids. What was your experience there?
Sure, so I called the number that I was given for the agency and I said I was looking for a 2-bedroom unit for myself and my kids. The lady I talked to said she wasn't sure if any units were available, but she gave me another number to call.
So Melanie called the second number and never heard back. A few days later, she tried again.
He seemed a little bit confused, kind of annoyed as to I was calling, and so I really just had to push why I was calling to ask if I could see units, that type of thing.
So did you ever get to see an apartment?
I didn't.
As we saw earlier, we know 2 apartments were available. Anitra, another woman with kids, also had phone problems.
We had 2 conversations over the phone, back and forth, but we did finally view the apartment. Just felt like it was different from our phone conversation. I felt like it wasn't welcoming at all. I didn't feel like he wanted to actually rent to me after he met me.
So let's contrast Anitra's experience to the single woman's experience.
He did at one point say, it's you and your son or your daughter, right? And I said, oh no, it's just me. And it did seem like he was, oh, just you? Oh, okay, well, let's go see it.
Housing discrimination is often subtle. These subtleties included things like asking an Hispanic person for her identification and even taking her picture while never asking the same of non-Hispanics, refusing to return phone calls to a person who stated they were looking for an apartment for herself and her 2 kids, telling a woman with a child that only one option was available while offering multiple options to single women. Housing discrimination is illegal. If you are a victim, you can take legal action. Legal action could help you get the housing and/or money damages. Prairie State can help investigate claims of discrimination and represent victims in a case. Call us.